Afterthought thumbs are great, right? They're just, you work so many stitches in waste yarn, then you put them back on the needle, and then you work over them with your working yarn, and then you pick out the waste yarn later, and then work off of those stitches to make your thumb. Great. That's all well and good, but the thumb kind of tends to stick out of the mitten or the glove, kind of straight out, or if it's on the palm side, it kind of sticks straight up. There's no gusset. There's none of this extra width happening to accommodate the fact that thumbs have depth, not just where they meet the palm, but all the way down. So, you know, a gusset tends to make things fit better. So in this case, what we're doing is we're putting in an afterthought thumb, which is handy for all sorts of reasons, but we're going to take up some extra stitches to account for the gusset. So imagine this is your glove or mitten, whatever, and you've worked up to where you want to split for the thumb. You want to split your thumb off, and it's plenty wide enough. You've increased from the wrist every other row or every third row, whatever your increase rate is, you've increased for your gusset, for your thumb. So there's your mitten or glove, whatever, fits great all the way up to here. And you want to split. What you do is you decide where you want to put it. Now I'm centering it. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to put my afterthought thumb with gusset over 13 stitches. Seems like a lot. It actually works out fine. But you can put it over however many stitches makes you comfortable. What I've decided to do is center it, so I do 3, put 7 on waste yarn, and do 3. What's actually happening is I'm knitting the first 3 on waste yarn, putting the next 7 on to that same waste yarn with a yarn needle, and then knitting the 3, and then going back over all of it with my working color. Let me demonstrate. Okay, so this is my working yarn. Drop it for now. Get myself a length of waste yarn, in this case a nice smooth cotton, which will be easy to remove, and I leave the ends in front. Okay, so I'm working 3, right? These 3 are just going to hang out, and then because it's easier, I'm going to grab my waste yarn, a yarn needle. You don't actually need to use a yarn needle. You could actually knit the stitch, pull the yarn all the way through, knit the stitch, pull the yarn all the way through, etc. But this is actually faster. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, don't lose that. Alright, so avoid getting tangled up. 7 stitches on waste yarn, just loose, 3 on waste yarn, knit, and then knit 3 more. Now, if I had wanted to, and then bring the yarn in the front again so it's on the outside. If I had wanted to, I could knit 6 and then put 7 on waste yarn. All that changes is which stitches go into this spot here, and which stitches are on the outside of the thumb. That's relevant if you have a stitch pattern or some sort of design or a texture going. Since I want this centered, see that? I decided to do 3 and 3. You don't have to. Anyway, so this was over here. Push it back, get your working color, and work over the 6 stitches, the first 3 and the last 3, just like you would normally for an afterthought thumb or heel or whatever. Don't lose the stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I like to leave these waste yarn stitches loose because then I can try it on without removing the waste yarn. Then, since they're all, nice and secure, not going anywhere, just keep going with your glove, mitten, whatever it is you're making that you needed the thumb for. Okay, so I bound off. Pretend this is a mitten. This is the afterthought thumb. This here is what goes into the gusset. That's the gusset for your thumb. And these 6 are your fourchette. These are the stitches that go here. Now the handy thing about this is that it's loose enough, unless you tighten it up really too far, but it's actually loose enough that you can try it on, which I think is kind of cool. The reason why I like to leave so many stitches, you can put as many stitches as you want into this afterthought thumb with gusset. The reason why I put in 6, which might seem a little excessive, is that I actually decrease out 4 stitches. 2 on either, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. So really, this 6-stitch fourchette actually becomes a 4-stitch fourchette. It prevents those stress holes that form at the corners of your thumbs and things. Anyway, so far so good. Now, if you're used to picking up stitches, it should be fairly clear where everything is. There's a stitch here, there's a stitch here, there's a stitch here, and then another one, and another one. Right? The bottom 6 are pretty simple. And then you turn it around and you can see where the other ones are. What you've got is you've got half of the stitch here. You see, because you can see actually it's literally half a stitch above it. Right? There's one strand of yarn going through it from here, but this is a stitch. And then there's another one here, and another one here, and another one here, which is actually between this set and this set. Then another one here, and another one here, and another half stitch here. I want all of them. My theory is that this half stitch here, you don't have to pick it up, but it only has one strand going through it, and better to pick it up and work it into the rest of it than to have a hole. So what I usually do is I actually stick my needle into all of them as I see them. This is why a good contrast cotton yarn that isn't going to bind up too heavily works really well. Okay, so that's 7 on the top. And turn it right side up, grab another needle, and pick up these. There's 1, 2, 3, and then the 7 off of the scrap yarn here. If you want to, you can introduce another needle. It might actually be easier rather than have to split them up later. Okay, to make sure to get all of them while they're still attached by waste yarn and not going anywhere. Okay, all the stitches are picked up. Now it's just a matter of unpicking the waste yarn, which can be a little tedious, but shouldn't be too hard. As long as the needles aren't going anywhere, it's all good. There's a wasp flying around. I don't know what it wants, since there isn't anything for it to eat right around here. Perhaps it smells my hand lotion. Okay, there you have it. All those stitches. You just join yarn and work around.